Good morning, first grade Smarties, and welcome to day 2 of virtual learning today. So we are going to keep talking about measuring. Yesterday we talked about the difference between shortest and tallest, and today we're going to talk about the difference between shortest to longest. So up here you'll see that we have 4 different questions that we are going to answer together. Now, when I'm looking at all 4, I made sure that all of my objects started at the same place. They all start at the orange line. Now, let's look at the first one. Miss Mason already filled this one in, so we're going to do this one together. It says, which worm is the longest and the shortest? Well, Miss Mason already answered this, but we can talk about it together. So when I'm looking at this, I know that the red is the longest because when all 3 start at the same place, I can see that my red worm goes longer than my other 2 worms. I know that my purple worm is the shortest because when I look at where it starts, I can compare it to the green and the red and see that it is shorter than both. Okay, so we can compare shortest to longest. For number 2, this one's kind of tricky, so we gotta read directions. This is important. When we are completing problems, we have to make sure that we read the directions and understand what it's asking us to do. So for number 2, we have 3 different bats. They all start at the orange line. I want to make sure they start at the same place, and I'm going to compare to see which one is shorter or longer. So it says bat number 1, is it longer or shorter than bat number 3? So here's bat number 1. We're not worrying about number 2 for this one. We're just looking at 1 and 3. I'm going to look at where they start. I can already tell that number 2 is my longest. I know that 3 is shorter than 2, but it's longer than 1. So number 1 is shorter than bat number 3. So I'm going to circle shorter. Okay, for number 3, all of my lines are starting at the same place. I made sure they're all starting at the line. I have 3 different lines. It says the blue, this is the word line. Miss Mason made a mistake. Good learners make mistakes. That's okay. The blue line is longer or shorter than the red line. We're not talking about the purple line, so we're going to see that it's there, but we're just going to focus on the 2 that we need to look at. Now, I remember to make sure that they start at the same place, and I can tell that the blue line is longer than the red line, so I'm going to circle that. And our last one, it says, read the clues and color the balloons. So it says, the red balloon is the longest. So again, all my balloons are starting at the same place. I have 3 different balloons. They're different sizes, but we can look from shortest to longest. So I haven't colored them yet. I have to color which one is the longest. So looking at it, I can already tell that my first one is not the longest. My second one is going to be the shortest, right? And I can tell that my third one is the longest. So I am going to put a little bit of red. Miss Mason will make sure to go back and color it all the way through because first grade coloring is important. So we know that this one is our longest, so I'm keeping track with the clues. So my red balloon is the longest. Here's my next clue. It says the blue balloon is shorter than the yellow balloon. So I only have 2 balloons left. My red one is done. So the blue balloon is shorter than the yellow balloon. So I'm looking at this. Is my first balloon shorter or longer than my second balloon? It's longer, right? So my shorter balloon is the blue. My second balloon is blue, which means that my last balloon is going to be yellow. I made sure to read the directions more than one time. Good learners go back and they reread what they need to know. We need to make sure that we do things right the first time. So just to recap what we've talked about today, we are talking about comparing lengths of objects. We can talk about shortest to tallest and shortest to longest. Make sure to check out your workbook pages today for comparing lengths of objects. And if you have any questions, please ask your teacher on Seesaw. It's really good to see you guys, and I hope you're having a great Wednesday.